Hey everybody out there, my name is Dragnix, and this is Overwatch Friday. This is where I discuss issues in the gaming or tech world and talk about it while putting some Overwatch footage in the background. Overwatch is the game that I play for fun, and well, I want to use the footage for something, therefore you get it on Fridays. But before I begin, I've got a giveaway from last week to take care of. And the winner of the last week giveaway is on the screen right about now. I thank everybody for entering, and for the person who won, contact me via my Steam information in the description below. Add me as a friend if you don't already have me as a friend. As for this week, let's give a copy of Rogue Legacy away. Yes, I know it's a game that a lot of people have, but I do have extra copies of it, and it's a fantastic game for those who don't have it. It's a great roguelike, it has a lot of action in it, and it's got a good amount of randomization in it in terms of enemies and configurations. So, how do you enter? Well, you have to be subscribed to the channel, of course, and you have to answer the following question. For the gaming personalities you follow, Let's Players, reviewers like myself, do their non-gaming opinions affect the way that you go about taking in their content? AKA, if they have an opinion that you may not necessarily agree with, does that influence whether or not you will keep on following them? The prompt for the question this week comes on the heels of the election and its results. And what I'm seeing in terms of the wide, vast reactions in the Twitter, Facebook, and gaming world. Because there is a lot of people who are angry about the results of the election. There are people who are happy with the results of the election. And then there's people like me who's looking at it and being like, well, not much has changed in the big picture. All I see is a lot of people getting angry and not listening to each other most of the time. And people trying to feed off that as well. And that really bothers me. The subject for this video came in result to another YouTuber making a video that I won't name names. I don't like starting beefs with people, and I will be generic as generic will come in terms of the titles because I don't want that fighting back and forth. Yes, that would probably help the channel in terms of more views, but to me, that doesn't help anyone. I'd rather discuss the issues. I'd rather discuss the actual meat behind things rather than get into a YouTube flame war, because no one is helped by that other than the people and the views in question. And that's not what this channel is about. Yes, it's struggling. Yes, I could use the views in order to make this a business, but to me that is a moral line that I won't cross. I don't want to exploit that. I want to get to the actual information behind it. But back to the topic at hand. Recently, I've seen a bunch of people on Twitter, on Facebook, on YouTube videos indicate that Total Biscuit, Boogie2988 aren't trustworthy anymore, that they've attacked their audience, and the fact is that their anger over the Trump presidency is something that you shouldn't follow them anymore. They're not worth your time anymore. Now, I've only seen it a tiny bit with Boogie2988 because, hey, the guy is pretty much as genuine as they come, at least in my opinion. He gives his opinions, he will give his opinions on political and other issues from time to time on the videos on his channel. But a lot of that hate has been towards Total Biscuit and his reaction to the Trump presidency and this post that he made on his Twitch. Now, I want to be clear, I don't think the way that Mr. Bane went about things in this situation was the right call. I think that he overreacted to his audience and was visibly upset in terms of what happened in terms of this country. I understand why he would get frustrated, and I understand where his concerns are coming from in terms of the future of the country, especially for him, where before he could be terminated with his health insurance very easily because of his conditions. Yes, it does happen, people, even if it isn't fair. Guess what? Life isn't fair. Some people are pointing out the hypocrisy of him yelling at the people who support him, who are Trump supporters, and then going about things like Gamergate and the gamers, saying that gamers are dead in the mainstream media, and him denouncing that, saying, hey, not all gamers are these horrible people. There is a hypocrisy there, and I understand where people are frustrated with him on that. But on the flip side, you have to understand that there are emotions involved. While you want logic and you want, good thoughts to prevail in terms of logical thinking, we are a reactionary species. We are going to react with our first reactions in a lot of cases, despite the fact that our heads are telling us, maybe you should wait on that. Maybe you should hold back on that. This is where a lot of the problems I see with the conflicts that happen on Twitter. People saying something, blurting it out without thinking about it, and then the next person assuming that they know exactly what the person is talking about and then attack them for it, saying you're a horrible person, without thinking about context, without thinking about the fact that, hey, guess what? You may have misinterpreted what the person had said. See, because of the opinions that Total Biscuit have made, there's already people attacking him. There's already people attacking his content, which is something that I don't understand. Regardless of his opinions regarding Trump, and regardless of the opinions of his audience, the content that he's produced on his channel regarding the games that he's covered is great. It's fantastic. It gives you a lot of information that you need to make a great purchasing decision. And those who think that it's affected by his politics, I'm just sitting there going, how can you think that when the content in question is clear? It makes sense of what he's presenting to you. It makes sense on me buying a game based off his recommendation and saying, yeah, this is exactly what he was saying. This is exactly what I need as a consumer. So how does that play into the fact that, yes, he's got a negative opinion of Trump people. You should not trust him because of the fact that he hates his audience. That doesn't make sense to me. One of the oldest proverbs that I was taught was don't judge a book by its cover, but I want to take that a step further. Don't judge a book by its cover or by one page that you read in the middle of the book, because guess what? A person is the entire book. It's their collection of all the experiences and everything they have to offer. Yes, Total Biscuit probably shouldn't have said what he said, but I'm not going to stop following him because of that. I'm not going to stop following his wonderful videos that give me the information that I need to make a purchasing decision just because he said something bad about his audience. Yes, I wish he took it back, but the people who are using it to attack him, they're reacting to his reaction. They are reacting like you would see on a reaction channel. It is so over the top. It is so forced in a lot of cases, and I question whether or not it is for the right reasons. Yes, dissect what people say. Dissect what they say and bring the arguments of, I think you agree with you on this and I disagree with you on this. For the person's video in question that I am referring to, again, I won't name names because, again, I don't want to start beef. I don't think that is a good way of discussing things in terms of the way YouTube works. I went back and I went through the entire video and I posted a huge comment on their video saying, this is where I disagree with you. This is where I think you're stretching your argument. And even to the point where I said, and here's where I think your frustration with, YouTube and the portions of YouTube that haven't been successful for you, that you're using this to try to gain subscribers for your own case without thinking that, hey, guess what? Maybe I'm wrong about the opinion in question, and maybe I haven't done the research that I need in order to make that opinion reasonable. What's funny about this is that there are good examples of dissecting a person, dissecting their arguments, and going after the arguments in question, and maybe still going after the person in question at times, but doing it in a way where it doesn't draw attention to you. Yes, people like iDubbbz, for example, are some of the best in terms of breaking down an argument, but when I look at the way that he argues in terms of going after somebody like Keemstar or Leafy, he dissects things and it never is about him. He doesn't bring it back to himself, and thus I feel like, hey, guess what? He is criticizing the person in question. He is criticizing their actions and not making it about them, not making it about a he versus them kind of situation. It's a situation where he is legitimately giving criticism to the creator in question and pointing out the problems in which their particular style has caused, the problems in terms of the information in question, the problems in terms of actually getting the audience the reasonable information that they need. Just this morning, I'm seeing a person comment on a Twitter post by 9volt. It's Todd's Anime, and then somebody responds to him, and there's this back and forth of people, trying to make issues with each other, in my opinion. I feel like we're so in the attack mode most of the time, where it's just like, oh, somebody did something wrong, we have to attack, rather than sit back and say, okay, Why did they do that? Could it be the fact that, hey, guess what? They're a little bit stressed? Could it be the fact that I misinterpreted what they said? No, it's attack, 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 attack. And I don't get that. Where did the logic go? Where did the intelligence go? A lot of the people that I follow, that I respect in terms of their opinions, they're not always going to be the same opinions of mine. But you know what they're going to do? They're going to step back and say, hey, maybe this issue that, I have with this person isn't just what it is on the surface. Maybe they have a little bit more depth in terms of their argument, and maybe 140 characters in a Twitter post is probably something that is missing context, is missing information that I need in order to make a great opinion on this person's content. And I'm not saying never attack anybody. I'm not saying that you shouldn't be vocal about your opinions in terms of a person in question. What I am saying is that before you attack somebody, before you say they're wrong, do your research. Don't just react to the first post you see. Step back and say, look, let's look at his other posts. Let's see what he said in his history. Let's see what he said over and over again. And maybe find out that, hey, guess what? Maybe he reacted negatively to that one circumstance. Maybe his history shows that he is a logical person, that he does have a lot of information to give that is worthy of my time, and maybe this one incident, maybe I don't understand something about that specific incident. Maybe it's something that really personally affects him, and he is overreacting to the situation in question. Rather than attack, 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 step back and wonder if your attack is going to do something and further the discussion. They're not always going to react to you when you do give that reaction. In the terms of that Twitter post that I was talking about, yes, it was an immediate reaction by both sides. But let's take some situation that is, a little bit more closer to home. Myself. Over the last year, I've been talking about the FTC violations of certain YouTubers, in particular with Pro Syndicate. And over again, I have talked about it on this channel and on Twitter. After about 9 months of doing that, finally Pro Syndicate himself, after somebody else posted to him, he finally responded to me and said, what are you talking about? And so I gave him a bunch of information of what I perceived to be FTC violations, and he said he would look at it. Now, he has not looked at it or responded to me to this day, and that's more information for me to work with. I gave him the information. He obviously saw it because he reacted to it, but he doesn't think it's important enough for him to take action on or at least respond to me. And so that is information for me to process. I don't trust Syndicate even more now because he hasn't done anything with that. And before I attacked him, with the FTC violations, I did my research. I went to Gamasutra and saw the post on the FTC violations with Dead Realm. I made sure that I looked at the history of his videos, watched his videos, and said, yeah, there's something off here in terms of the way he presents these. He doesn't give the proper disclosure like he's supposed to, and he does seem to understand disclosure at times when he has sponsored posts. So it seems like he's ignoring the sponsored post in question in terms of things like CSGO Lotto, with things like Dead Realm, and with him having a personal part in it, yeah, there's a problem here. So before I just threw accusations at him, I did my research. So to the person who made the video in question, who's not going to be named, I'm just going to put this out there for you. Think about what you're doing. I understand you want to grow as a YouTube channel. I understand you have strong opinions about, certain topics within the gaming world, in the moral world, in the political world. But what you did seems to go against the other elements of your channel, the, rational thought in terms of, thinking things out, telling people to actually use their minds before they go and say something. Because you seem to contradict yourself while doing it. Now, I don't know if you'll ever see this. Maybe somebody will post it to you and figure out exactly who I'm talking about. Maybe they won't. But this isn't intended as an attack on you. This is intended as a, let's sit back and think about how we've gotten to this situation. Let's step back and say, wait a minute, maybe we're doing something wrong here. Maybe this attack mentality and this, lack of listening, lack of understanding is why we got to this situation in the first place. And maybe understand that a person's beliefs shouldn't necessarily discredit what they've done in their entire life. Yes, this person has a negative opinion on Trump or a positive opinion on Trump. it doesn't make the difference when it comes to their scientific achievements, their actual achievements in terms of art. The art that they create is still the same. Scott Adams at Ender's Game. Yes, he is a horrible racist now. Okay, fine. That doesn't mean that, Ender's Game isn't a good book. It's one of my favorite books of all time. It's one of the best subjects in terms of sci-fi of all time. That doesn't change that. So don't assume that their opinion automatically discredits them in other places. Because guess what? You can still have other opinions on situations and still be good at what you do. And after I made this video, there was a small update from Total Biscuit, sort of going back on things, sort of saying, hey, look, I still have problems with Trump, but I've sort of looked at things and said, hold on a second, I may be in the wrong in certain elements on this. Not taking back everything that I said and not apologizing, saying that, hey, I can't really tell you guys an apology because of the fact that I think it's empty gesture at this point. But hey, this sort of shows that, hey, guess what? Maybe he thought about things and maybe the emotions did get to him. So hey, guess what? It happens to us. Anyway, I know this is a more rambly video than normal, but the fact of the matter is that I wanted to bring this to you guys, and I wanted to bring a more, I don't want to say personal because that doesn't sound right, but a more off-the-cuff kind of situation in terms of what I'm describing here. So there you go. Again, I will see you guys next week. I am still looking for a job in terms of supporting the channel while still being able to do content like this. And again, if you like the content, share it with a friend, maybe support me on Patreon, so on and so forth. I will see you all later.
Hey, that's footage you can use, right?